It was on this day in 2007 where the hearts of Blue Bomber fans were shattered. Quarterback Kevin Glenn broke his arm following a bumbled snap and handoff exchange with Charles Roberts. The Blue Bombers did win that game in the East Final over the Toronto Argonauts to go to the Grey Cup, but we all know what happened from there with Ryan Dinwiddie forced to make his first CFL start in a losing effort for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Thanks for joining us here on Bonfire Sports. Be sure to like and subscribe, and pleased to welcome in once again to Bonfire, Nick Kowalski. Nick, is this a smart decision in your opinion for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to start Zach Collaros in this regular season finale that has no bearing on the standings? We're all looking towards the game that really matters, and that's December 5th, the West Final here in Winnipeg.
I think your intro sums it up, that it's not a good idea to have Collaros even dressed for this game. I think Winnipeg, they rolled with Sean McGuire and Drew Brown last week in Montreal, and I think they should do the exact same thing in Calgary based off the Dinwiddie or the Kevin Glenn and Dinwiddie incident back in 2007, and based off what we saw in McGuire last week, where if Collaros isn't under center on December 5th for Winnipeg, they might be in big trouble. And not even might, they probably are going to be in big trouble. Whereas this whole rest versus rust debate with professional athletes, I'm not sure if Collaros is rusty. I think Winnipeg's fine. They can script around it on December 5th to adjust to whatever rust, I say that in quotations, Collaros might have. But if you're putting him out there in a meaningless game this Saturday in Calgary and he gets hurt and can't play on December 5th, you're in big trouble.
No question the Blue Bombers would be in big trouble if they're without Zach Collaros for the 2021 postseason. But it makes you wonder what goes into this decision, and what we've seen at Blue Bombers practice this week is, following the birth of his second daughter, congratulations once again to the Collaros family, Zach was at practice yesterday for the closed session that we did not have eyes on, obviously, and on Thursday, today, he was on the field running with the ones. Interesting to see Sean McGuire watching on Nick, and it was Drew Brown running the second team offense. And then we finally got an opportunity to talk to offensive coordinator Buck Pierce, head coach Mike O'Shea, and a variety of players about this rest versus rust and the decision to play guys and sit guys. There's a handful of Blue Bombers that will not play in this game, and as the Blue Bombers always do, keeping their cards close to the vest. And we won't know until that depth chart comes out on Friday morning. But for Zach Collaros, and the timing really is something with it being the anniversary of Kevin Glenn's broken arm, that was a meaningful game, right? That was the East Final. The Blue Bombers needed Kevin Glenn to play in that game. In this situation, Zach Collaros does not need to play, but it sure looks like Winnipeg will indeed start and play him. And some of the words Mike O'Shea used in describing that is, there'll be no rep count or hardened timeline on how much Zach Collaros will play in Calgary on Saturday. It'll come down to the flow of the game. It won't be X amount of series. It will really determine or factor into, the way the game goes. But the thing that Mike O'Shea and so many others have reiterated this week is what they're doing is for the best of the health of the team. And in my opinion, that goes beyond the physical health of the players on the field. It also means that they're still working to win, and they're approaching that game as they would any other. Nick, this is the strength of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It doesn't matter if it's a Thursday night in August or a Sunday afternoon in a cold Grey Cup game. They go into that game the exact same way. So if these players are healthy and able to play, maybe it's not the entire game for someone like Zach Collaros, but they should play if they're healthy and ready to go.
And I do get that. And I applaud any coach, any player that wants to win anytime they take the football field, which I'm sure can be said about every single member within the Blue Bombers organization right now. Mm-hmm. But the ultimate goal when you enter a professional season is to win a championship. And I think that if you sit Collaros for this game, make sure he's ready on December 5th. And let's go back to 2019 too. It's not like Collaros was playing all season and came in with great knowledge of the Winnipeg playbook. He kind of came off the bench for Chris Streveler and led the team to 4 straight wins without much time spent in Winnipeg's locker room. So I don't think that rust will ever really be an issue with a guy as talented as Collaros. And honestly, if you're trying to win a championship, you want your best 45 players on the field that day. And this scenario where you're playing Collaros on this Week 16 game that is meaningless for both teams, and I want to get into that too, about what it means for Calgary's defensive sake. I don't know if that's the best idea if you're trying to achieve that end goal.
No question, that is an extremely valid point. I'll give you that. There is very little to be gained, seemingly, by playing all of the top guys for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Jackson Jeffcoat, Dietrich Nichols, a handful of other individuals may be unlikely to play in this game. They are indeed injured, or something is nagging them. To give them that extra week and then the bye week, I think is a smart move. But for the healthy players, in my opinion, if you're able to play, why shouldn't you play? Football players are wired differently than us watching from afar. You can't play timid. As Buck Pierce said this afternoon, there's only one way to play. They need to continue to sharpen their tools, play smart, play clean, and play physical. Those are the three words Buck Pierce used in it. And if, let's say, whether it's a healthy Zach Collaros or a healthy anybody on this Blue Bombers team, if they didn't play last week and they didn't play again this week, and then you have a bye, including the prep week ahead of the West Final, you're looking at nearly 4 weeks between playing a meaningful football game. When Buck Pierce talks about sharpening your tools, practice is one thing, the real game action is another. And I think, there's probably been very heated debates, similar to what you and I are doing right now, inside the Blue Bombers facility, not just this week, but even last week, maybe even over the past few weeks, because this Blue Bombers team is already locked up first place in the West Division and had a long time ago. But in the end, Nick, it's going to come down to, a calculated risk one way or another. Sitting players out, sitting Zach Collaros down for an extended period of time versus, putting them in there to see if they, are able to be healthy. I look at somebody like Stanley Bryant, who no doubt is at the top of his game today, as he has been over the last number of years in the CFL. And until a healthy scratch last week, played 102 consecutive games in the CFL. I know offensive line is a different position. I know they don't take the physical punishment of, a blitzing linebacker or defensive end and deliver the blows that quarterbacks take at times. But he played at the top of his game. He played sharp and hard every single week. And that's how football players are wired, in my opinion. And from what I've been told, that the harder they play, if they don't ease off the gas pedal, that's where they're going to probably be the healthiest. If you ease off, you can put yourself in danger. And I think that's more dangerous than anything.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I think if Collaros is to suit up on Saturday, his mindset is going to be, I want to win this football game. I'm not going to ease up. I think that goes the same thing. I heard Brandon Alexander actually talk about this earlier when talking about tackling William Stanback, is that with a guy like that, you can't go in 50%. You have to be 100% every time, which translates to pretty much any position in football, where if you're not giving it your all, like you're not only more vulnerable to get injured, but you're also not doing your team the best duty that you can. But Winnipeg's playing with fire here, and that's what I like. If nothing happens and Collaros is fine and he's all good to go for December 5th, that's great. But the bottom line is they're really playing with fire. Especially, we talk about Stanley Bryant here too. His replacement to left tackle, he actually went down with a knee injury that, who knows, like it's all hypothetical. But if that was Stanley Bryant in there, that's another person where if he's not there on December 5th, Winnipeg is in big trouble as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as of right now, it looks like the Blue Bombers starting offensive line, just to that point, will all indeed start and play in Calgary. How much amongst them and the other positions, we will still see. Last thought on this, Nick, is I look at it like a goal line play, like 3rd and goal from the half-yard line. Whatever you dial up, if it works, it's a stroke of genius. But if you get burned and you get stuffed, you made the wrong decision. So we will have to wait and see how this shakes out for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. One thing we know for sure, Stampeders, Blue Bombers games are always heated battles, and it could very well be the red and white versus the blue and gold at IG Field on December 5th. Nick, thanks for joining us. And we can maybe mention to the viewers right now, you're going to be joining me and Bonfire Sports at the 108th Grey Cup in Hamilton in December.
Yep, it's going to be a fantastic opportunity, and I really can't wait for all the great content we're going to be putting out there with players, media, coaches, everything.
Absolutely. It's going to be a heck of a fun week, no matter what happens. Thanks again, Nick. And for everybody out there, be sure to like and subscribe, ring that bell, and be alerted as soon as fresh content is up here on Bonfire Sports.